Join me as I dive into the surprising shift in Trump's stance on electric vehicles and try to figure out what it all means for the future. Hi, I'm Leslie Walker. Welcome to Q's Fleet News, the place where you get your fleet news in 7 minutes. Today, we're witnessing a significant turning point in the world of electric vehicles. And it's all thanks to a sudden change of heart from none other than Donald Trump. In a stunning reversal, Trump has seemingly done a 180 on his previous stance, and it's sending shockwaves throughout the automotive industry and beyond. The topic of electric vehicles has become a lightning rod for controversy, splitting people along party lines and sparking heated debates about the future of transportation. Amidst this backdrop of intense political and environmental scrutiny, Trump's surprising about-face raises more questions than answers. So what prompted this dramatic shift in Trump's perspective? And what does it mean for the millions of Americans who are increasingly turning to electric vehicles as a cleaner, more sustainable alternative to traditional gas guzzlers? As we explore this unexpected turn of events, it's essential to understand the broader context in which it's unfolding. The battle for supremacy in the electric vehicle market is heating up, with major manufacturers investing billions in new technologies and infrastructure. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking on the planet's carbon emissions, and the role of electric vehicles in reducing our collective environmental footprint can't be overstated. In the grand scheme of things, Trump's sudden support for electric vehicles could be a game changer, but only if it translates into tangible policy changes and meaningful action. As we'll see in a moment, the devil is very much in the details, and there are still plenty of reasons to be skeptical about Trump's true intentions. But for now, let's take a closer look at how we got here, and the implications of this dramatic shift in Trump's stance on electric vehicles. The initial challenges and controversies surrounding Trump's previous positions on electric vehicles were well documented, with many critics accusing him of being out of touch with the reality of climate change and the rapidly evolving automotive landscape. Trump's infamous tweet about electric cars being glorified golf carts summed up his earlier disdain for the technology, and his administration's rollback of Obama-era fuel efficiency standards only added fuel to the fire. The subsequent backlash from the environmental community and electric vehicle enthusiasts was intense, with many calling out Trump's short-sightedness and lack of vision. The pushback wasn't limited to the environmental sphere either. Automakers and industry stakeholders were caught off guard by Trump's hostility towards electric vehicles, which threatened to undermine their own investments in clean energy and sustainable transportation. As electric vehicle sales began to rise, Trump's opposition started to look increasingly isolated and out of step with the times. Meanwhile, his administration's attempts to prop up the fossil fuel industry only underscored the perception that Trump was beholden to big oil and unmoved by the mounting evidence of climate change. Despite the vocal opposition, Trump remained resolute in his skepticism towards electric vehicles, painting them as a niche product for elitist city dwellers rather than a viable alternative for mainstream Americans. But beneath the surface, something was brewing. As the science on climate change continued to mount and public awareness of the issue reached new heights, the tide of public opinion began to shift. Electric vehicles, once seen as a curiosity, were rapidly gaining traction as a symbol of innovation and progress. It was only a matter of time before Trump's stance would become unsustainable, and the writing was on the wall as his administration began to subtly pivot on the issue. The first hints of a change in tone came when Trump's own transportation secretary, Elaine Chao, started praising the benefits of electric vehicles in public statements. Meanwhile, behind-the-scenes negotiations with automakers and industry stakeholders hinted at a more collaborative approach to regulating the sector. But it wasn't until Trump himself began to signal a shift in his stance that the news really started to break. One of the most significant moments came when Trump publicly praised the electric vehicle tax credit, a measure he had previously derided as a handout to wealthy elites. The about-face was striking, and it marked a turning point in Trump's relationship with the electric vehicle industry. As we'll explore in greater depth, this change in tone was accompanied by a range of new policy initiatives and statements from Trump himself, all of which suggest a profound shift in his thinking on the issue. The implications of Trump's change of heart are far-reaching and multifaceted. On the one hand, it represents a major opportunity for the electric vehicle industry to gain mainstream acceptance and drive further innovation. On the other hand, it raises tough questions about the sincerity of Trump's commitment to tackling climate change, given his continued support for fossil fuels and his administration's ongoing efforts to undermine environmental regulations. One of the most pivotal moments in Trump's journey came when he toured a Michigan factory producing electric vehicles, surrounded by workers and industry leaders. The optics were carefully stage-managed, but the message was clear. Trump was finally acknowledging the reality of electric vehicles and their potential to drive economic growth and job creation. The reaction from the crowd was telling, with many workers nodding along in agreement as Trump touted the benefits of clean energy and American manufacturing. As news of Trump's 180 on electric vehicles spread, the reaction was mixed, to say the least. Environmental groups and electric vehicle enthusiasts were cautiously optimistic, sensing an opportunity to push for more aggressive climate policies and deeper investments in clean energy. Meanwhile, the fossil fuel industry and its allies were left reeling, scrambling to adapt to a new landscape in which electric vehicles were suddenly seen as the engines of growth, rather than a niche curiosity. The full extent of Trump's policy reversal is still unfolding, but one thing's for certain. This sudden shift in stance has sent shockwaves throughout the automotive industry, and its consequences will be felt for years to come. As we look to the future, it's essential to separate the rhetoric from the reality and to push for meaningful action on climate change and sustainable transportation. In conclusion, Trump's surprising about-face on electric vehicles is a significant development in the ongoing struggle to combat climate change and promote clean energy. While the exact motivations behind this shift remain unclear, one thing's for certain: the implications are far-reaching, and the stakes have never been higher. As we move forward, it's essential to stay vigilant, to hold our leaders accountable, and to demand real action on the environment. Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Q's Fleet News, the place where you get your fleet news in 7 minutes. I'm Leslie Walker. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.